What is the largest offer you've ever seen made to a software engineer? How's it going, guys? Today I'm back and I'm bringing you another video with my sister Courtney.
Hi!
So today we're basically just going to ask Courtney some questions, and in a couple seconds you'll understand why. So Courtney, do you think you could just do me a quick favor? Obviously not introduce yourself to me, but introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. So hi, my name is Courtney. I work as a campus recruiter at a tech company currently. Prior to that, I was working as a full-time recruiter doing software engineer hiring, full stack development hiring, tons of different hiring for technical stacks, along with campus recruiting for a fintech firm. So lots of recruiting for all types of engineers.
That's right. So as you could probably tell, that's why we're making this video. I thought it'd be really helpful for some of you guys who are trying to land a job in tech, are currently interviewing, are interested in how you can get hired at a large company. I thought it'd be really useful for you guys to basically get tips from my sister, who's a recruiting pro and works at a really large tech company in New York City. So with that being said, we're going to ask Courtney a few questions today that are based in recruiting and basically how you guys can get these jobs.
Hey, future Courtney popping in from before. Just wanted to say that as a disclaimer, none of my views, none of my statements here are representative of the companies that I've worked for. These are all just my personal opinions based on my experience in the industry. So hopefully you find it helpful, and looking forward to seeing you in the next video.
So Courtney, just my first question for you is, generally speaking, start to finish, what does the recruiting process for a software engineer, a full stack engineer look like at these large tech companies?
Sure. So I think that it's very dependent on the team and what they're looking for and what they need. But typically there's going to be some sort of intro process, whether it's a recruiter reaching out to you, you applying to the company, doing some sort of phone screen with a recruiter, moving on to an on-site or technical interview. So the amount of technical interviews may vary based on the team as well. And then eventually moving to a hiring decision. So again, it just depends on what the team is looking for and what they're assessing you for throughout the process as well.
Awesome. So I have a lot of people reach out to me and say that they either have a background in computer science, that they are going through a boot camp, that they've applied to 100 places. A lot of people can't seem to land the initial interview. And so my question is, what would you give as tips to people who want to land an interview at a large tech company? What are the most important things to do to give yourself the best chance of landing that initial interview?
Well, if we're speaking campus, there's a few things that you can do. So for anyone who's a software engineer currently, who's in school, at university, I would say there's a few things that you can get on your resume right away that just look really strong for recruiters. So one, listing any sort of previous internship experience that you've had, trying to get those internships as well, whether it's through family friends, doing something in your town, anything like that looks really, really strong on your resume. I would also say being involved in academics and clubs at your school. So if you're a TA, putting that on your resume.
Right.
If you're in SHIP, NSBE, WIC, any of those types of clubs, definitely put those on your resume as well. For full-time engineers, it's a little bit different. I would say definitely apply to the roles that actually match your background and skill set. There's tons of recruiters looking at thousands of applications and resumes.
So many.
Every single day.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how many I used to go through and how many I still go through.
Right.
But I would say just making sure that you're really applying for roles that match your background and skill set, because that's when you're going to be reached out to. So if you're someone who's coming out of school, you have 1 to 3 years of experience and you're applying to senior software engineer roles, I can tell you straight away you're going into the garbage can.
You guys can do it. You
Like,
guys got this. Apply.
I would say you never hurt yourself by applying, but if you're going to get the attention of a recruiter, fit the background, have the skills on your resume, any sort of projects you've worked on, previous experience, anything that's published as well. So especially if you're a mobile developer, I would say definitely having any apps that you've created on the App Store listed on your resume is a great thing to have. And then of course listing all of your skill sets. So if you're strong in Java, JavaScript, Python, SQL, literally any of those things, I think it's really important to just list everything and then in order of your strengths as well.
Awesome. Great answer. I think that's super helpful. So now let's say a candidate applies, they actually get the initial interview. You kind of glossed over it before, but basically you typically have like an initial call with a recruiter. So let's say I actually, I apply to Google or wherever, I get that initial phone screen, and now I hop on the phone with Courtney. What are the kinds of things or qualities that you look for to push me forward to the next round that's more technical?
Great question. I think it depends on the team and what they're looking for, but just general qualities that I personally look for as a recruiter, I would say one, anyone who's a self-starter. If you're telling me about projects that you've embarked on by yourself, things that you weren't pushed for you to do by others, I would say that's a really strong indicator of someone. Okay. Cross-collaboration, if you've worked across different teams, and you've been able to, work with different people and create different products. I think that's a really strong indicator as well, because it shows that you're probably a strong communicator. Mm-hmm. And also just going through any sort of, situations that you've been through. So like I typically like to ask for, and this is a pretty standard question, but like, what's a difficult situation that you've been through, and explain to me how you overcame it, or how you worked through it, or potentially how you failed. Because I think failure also speaks a lot about a person as well, if they're able to learn from something.
Talk about that in my video. I failed a lot.
Yeah, didn't you get fired?
Yeah, I got fired. I got laid off.
Sorry, laid off.
I got laid off.
I got corrected on LinkedIn once.
Right.
About that.
But she actually did. That was funny. I'm not going to steal the spotlight, but I did get fired. Laid off. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
So are you done with that question?
I would say just bring your A game to those types of interviews. They're not meant to be, nerve-wracking, and I know they can be, but people hop on the phone with you because they want to give you a job. Like there's no reason.
You want them to get hired.
Yes, like there's no reason why I want to spend my time speaking to 45 candidates if you're a really strong one and you can have a conversation with me. Right. I think that's what sometimes people forget, is that people want to hire you. It sounds kind of crazy.
Courtney's on your team.
Yeah, honestly, and this is what I tell all of my friends before they go into interviews too. I'm just like, hey, they want to hire you. There's no reason that they're, putting you through this process to just be like, no.
Right, that makes sense. And I think just to echo Courtney's sentiment, I think it's really important too to prepare for behavioral interviews. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people just assume that in a technical field like computer science, it's all technical, but at the end of the day, we're all people. We want to be able to work with people who are, we're interested in, or like have things compatible with, or people who can hold conversations, or, someone who I'm going to get stuck at a layover in an airport with and be fine with.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really important to prepare for the behavioral interviews, be ready for them, and to just be able to converse with humans.
Yeah. And I would say, even I have a personal story about this, and I'm a recruiter and I was interviewing for a recruiter role. I went in completely unprepared with behavioral questions, and when they asked me, like, what did you accomplish at your last job? Yeah. I went blank and said, like, I created a great filing system.
So definitely prepare.
Definitely prepare. Take it from a recruiter who failed a recruiter interview. Prepare for the behavioral.
Don't underestimate behavioral. Okay, so now let's say we've had that call. Obviously I did incredibly. And now I'm moving forward to actually having a technical phone call, typically with an engineer. Mm-hmm. What kinds of resources or places would you point people to so they can hopefully succeed at the next step, which would be that phone call with an engineer?
Great question. Again, I would say, one, tap into your recruiter, because 9 times out of 10, again, they want you to succeed, and they'll give you as much information as they can to help guide you. Obviously, they can't give you the full format of the interview or the questions that are going to be asked, but they can give you a lay of the land of what you can expect to hear or have to speak to. Right. I would also say Stack Overflow is a great resource just to go over some questions. Mm-hmm. I would say even YouTube videos are probably helpful. Ding ding. But looking for those reasons. Yeah, sister's always gotta help the little brother.
The little brother, that's right.
Can't tell I'm older. But I would say YouTube videos are great. And even just asking some of your other friends who've gone through these processes, if you are a software engineer, tapping into those resources. And then if you're a student in school, your professors in Career Center, so underrated. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of students forget that they think that they're in this process on their own, but there are tons of people there who want to support you as well and want you to succeed in this process, and leaning on them and asking them for advice is also really, really great. So I would say looking at those different things.
Yeah, so there's a lot of resources in short, I guess. Like, you guys know I love LeetCode. I think YouTube's a great way to learn. And just to kind of summarize it all, my channel is the best place. Yeah. So definitely watch all the videos.
Yeah, I would say every single interview I've had so far, they've all been like, yeah, Kevin Naughton Jr.'s videos really prepared me for this.
I actually interviewed someone at my company a week or two ago, and I was 95% sure that they were one of my subscribers. It was crazy.
And that's a full circle moment.
Right, full circle.
The more you
there
know.
We go. Exactly. Okay, so now, let's say I again crush the technical interview with an engineer.
Wow, you're just flying through this
I'm
process.
killing it. It's so easy.
I gotta give you like 5 more.
I could like literally roll the rejection emails right now.
Yeah, let's put them all right
yeah, we
here
really
with my
should.
fingers.
Now I have to edit this to do that. So now, I should probably wait a second so that they can all scroll because there's so many of them. So now
Here,
let's
let me
say,
put mine too.
oh my gosh, yeah. Great. So now that I can finally ask this question, let's say I do pass the technical phone screen with an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm invited to come on site. We figure out my availability.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of things are you going to look for when I come on site? I'm assuming they're going to have like a full day of interviews, probably whiteboarding or writing on a laptop, some code. Hopefully it's functioning. But in terms of actual qualities, what do you look for in candidates on the on-site?
One, I think culture fit is also something that's underrated, specifically
Agreed.
by engineers. Not in the sense of like, if you don't completely fit in this environment, we're not going to hire you, but more so just making sure that you would succeed in this environment. Because again, you don't want to hire someone that throughout the process you're going to see is not going to succeed at your company.
That makes sense.
So I would say that's a big one. People come in prepared, like kind of knowing what they're going to speak about, feeling prepared with their interviewers, and feeling like they can ask their interviewers questions as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also an underrated thing when you're in an interview process, how much interviewers actually care about people asking them questions throughout the process and the types of questions they're asking.
I agree.
Not even in just the technical assessments, but once they move past that and maybe they're trying to have a little banter with you, like trying to get to know you on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just saying, so how's the company culture to every single interviewer, it's gonna come up and they're gonna be like, he, she, them, they didn't really ask me any sort of unique questions. They didn't really feel like they knew the company.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously this is different. Like if you were reached out to by a recruiter and you were interested in the company, but maybe they were trying to like sell you a little bit, it might be a different process. For anyone who's just direct applying, I would say really do your research on a company, know why you want to be there, and that can actually help sway an interview panel. I've seen that happen before at previous companies, and it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, I think this really comes back to saying don't undermine the technical, see, I'm so used to saying and thinking technical. Don't undermine the value of behavioral interviews and behavioral aspects of interviews. I actually read an article literally yesterday that was about Amazon's hiring manager and how he interviewed someone. Obviously, they're not naming him, but someone, and he literally failed all 5 technical interviews on site. But he was super open to receiving feedback. He was very excited about the company. He knew tons about the company, and he actually ended up passing the interview, getting hired, and he's been there for years now. He's been promoted multiple times. So this all just goes to say, don't undermine the behavioral aspects of interviews, and definitely come prepared with questions to ask at the end. At the end of the day, we're all human. And if I live in New York and you live in New York, we both love the Mets and corgis, like, awesome. You're probably going to be willing to give me a little bit higher of a score maybe, even though you're not supposed to be biased.
Maybe. And then on the technical aspect of things, I would say if a recruiter says to prepare in something, like, do your studying, study up on it, because there's most likely going to be a technical question thrown in from someone, whether it's a code pair or just like working through something on a whiteboard. Just familiarize yourself with that stuff.
Yeah.
But also be honest about your skill sets. Like if you're applying for a Java role and you have it on your resume, but maybe you're not the strongest Java developer, chances are you're not going to do well in this interview process. Like even though you're getting an interview because your resume looks like a Java developer, it's like just be transparent, because there are also, the other thing I've seen and things that I've done in the past are, let's say someone's not the right fit for this role. If I really think that you're a strong candidate for the company, I will either hold on to your resume or find another role that works for you.
Right.
And that makes a huge difference. And again, you don't have to like reapply or anything. I'll just be like, hey, I actually think you'd be a better fit for X, Y, and Z role. Why don't we like push you over there?
Right. Okay, great. So I have 2 more questions, and these are more fun. So the first one is just simply, what is the largest offer you've ever seen made to a software engineer? That's right. That's going to be the clickbait. She can't answer it, but you know it's going to be at the beginning of the video.
I literally can't answer that.
It's a lot of money, I'm sure.
I've been very fortunate in my roles.
Millions.
Okay. I've been very fortunate in my role to like be a part of some really cool processes, but I cannot answer that for privacy reasons and just.
The largest offer she's ever given was to me, which now piggybacks to this question, which is, if I ever interviewed at your company, would you tell me all the answers? Be honest.
So the funny thing is, at my current company, I'm a campus recruiter.
Oh,
so
no, I have to go back to school.
Unfortunately, if you were a master's student, I could maybe nudge you along a little bit more.
Right.
But I unfortunately would not be able to be like, hey, Kevin, you should, prepare an X, Y, Z.
Definitely know how to reverse a string.
Yes, and I would say, as much as I would love to prepare every single candidate that I have with all the information and like have them pass, it's not really an interview process if I do that. Yeah. But I could try.
Yeah, awesome.
We'll speak offline about those.
Yeah, so I think that's all the questions I really have for you, Court. If you have any tips, tricks, any last things you want to tell people or give advice, feel free.
Yeah, I guess just be confident in your skill set. Know how to market. Yeah, know how to market yourself and build your brand, which I'm happy to speak about in another video potentially.
Yeah, she'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back. And I would just say, know where you want to work, and if you want to be at a Google, a Facebook, if you want to be at a startup, just keep pushing on, keep pursuing that. You never know where your journey is going to take you, and just any bit of experience you can get is just the next stepping stone into your ultimate goal.
Definitely. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll see you guys next time.
And if you want me back, comment.
Comment down below.